You are your own approval. This statement may seem simple, yet it carries profound meaning that can transform how you perceive yourself and your place in the world. In a society that often measures worth through external validation, it is easy to fall into the trap of seeking constant approval from others, be it friends, family, colleagues, or social media. However, true empowerment and inner peace come when you recognize that your validation must come from within. When you understand that you are your own approval, you reclaim your power, your authenticity, and your happiness. This journey starts with shifting your mindset, nurturing self-awareness, and cultivating a deep sense of self-love and acceptance. To begin, you must understand that seeking approval outside of yourself is an endless pursuit. External validation is fleeting. It can lift you up temporarily, but ultimately leaves you dependent on others' opinions. When you rely on others' approval, you give away your inner strength, making your sense of worth fragile and conditional. Instead, you should focus on building a strong foundation of self-approval rooted in your values, your passions, and your understanding of who you are. Recognize that your worth is inherent, not determined by external factors or the judgments of others. You are inherently valuable simply because you exist. And that realization is the first step towards self-approval. Self-awareness is crucial in this process. Spend time getting to know yourself, not the version of yourself you project to impress others, but the real, raw, authentic you. Reflect on your beliefs, desires, fears, strengths, and weaknesses. Journaling can be a powerful tool for this introspection. Write about what truly matters to you, what makes you feel alive, and what triggers feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. As you deepen your understanding of yourself, you will begin to see that many of the external pressures you feel are based on societal expectations or internalized judgments that do not truly reflect who you are. When you acknowledge this, you free yourself from the need to conform to external standards and instead focus on aligning with your authentic self. Self-acceptance is the cornerstone of self-approval. It involves embracing all aspects of yourself, your flaws, your imperfections, your past mistakes, and your current limitations, without judgment or shame. This does not mean complacency or resignation, but rather recognizing that you are a work in progress, deserving of compassion and patience. Practice self-compassion daily. When you make mistakes, instead of harshly criticizing yourself, treat yourself with kindness. Remember that everyone makes errors. They are opportunities for growth, not definitions of your worth. Celebrate your strengths and acknowledge your efforts. This internal validation creates a resilient sense of self that does not depend on external praise. Developing self-trust is another vital aspect of being your own approval. Trust that your feelings, instincts, and judgments are valid. When you make decisions based on your inner voice, you reinforce your confidence in yourself. This can be challenging, especially if you have learned to doubt yourself due to past experiences or external influences. Start small by making choices that resonate with your true self and observe the positive outcomes. Over time, this builds a habit of trusting yourself, which enhances your capacity for self-approval. Remember that you are the best authority on your own life. No one else can truly know what is best for you, and honoring that truth is an act of self-respect. Set boundaries that protect your mental and emotional well-being. When you seek approval from others, you often compromise your boundaries, sacrificing your authenticity to appease or please. Recognize that saying no when something does not align with your values or desires is an act of self-approval. It affirms that your needs matter and that your peace is a priority. Boundaries also help you create space for your growth and self-care. As you strengthen these boundaries, you affirm your right to live authentically, independent of external expectations. Practice mindfulness and presence. When you are fully present, you become more aware of your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. This awareness allows you to observe when you seek external approval and gently redirect your focus inward. Mindfulness helps you detach from the need for validation and instead connect with your inner wisdom. Engage in meditation, breathing exercises, or simply paying attention to your senses to anchor yourself in the present moment. Over time, this practice cultivates a sense of inner calm and self-reliance, reinforcing that your approval is rooted within you, not outside. Let go of the need for perfection. Striving for perfection is a common trap that undermines self-approval. When you set impossibly high standards for yourself, you create a constant cycle of disappointment and self-criticism. Instead, aim for progress, not perfection. Celebrate your efforts and small victories. Recognize that imperfections are what make you human and unique. They are also opportunities for learning and growth. By embracing your imperfections, you free yourself from the unrealistic pursuit of flawlessness and foster greater self-acceptance. Surround yourself with supportive influences that reinforce your journey towards self-approval. While the goal is to be your own validator, community still matters. Seek out relationships and environments that uplift you and encourage your authentic self. Avoid toxic relationships that thrive on criticism or control. Remember, your self-approval should not depend on the approval of others, but healthy connections can serve as mirrors that reflect your true worth and help you stay grounded in your self-belief. Develop daily affirmations that reinforce your intrinsic worth. Affirmations are powerful tools to counteract negative self-talk and recalibrate your mindset. Create statements that resonate with your values and aspirations, such as, "I am enough," "I trust myself," or "My worth is inherent." Repeat these affirmations regularly, especially when you notice self-doubt creeping in. Over time, they rewire your subconscious, making self-approval your default state. Embrace vulnerability as a strength. Allow yourself to be open about your feelings, fears, and aspirations without fear of judgment. Vulnerability fosters genuine self-connection and authenticity. When you are honest about your struggles, you validate your experiences and honor your truth. This openness also invites understanding and compassion from others, which can gradually shift your perception of external validation from a necessity to a bonus rather than a requirement. Practice gratitude for yourself. Regularly acknowledge your efforts, resilience, and growth. Keep a gratitude journal focused on your personal journey. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, and recognize your capacity to overcome challenges. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack or what others think to what you already possess: inner strength, potential, and worthiness. This shift nurtures your self-approval and reinforces that you are enough just as you are. Let go of comparison. In the age of social media, comparison has become a pervasive source of self-doubt. Remember that each person's journey is unique, and comparing yourself to others only diminishes your self-worth. Instead, focus on your path, your progress, and your goals. Celebrate others' successes without feeling threatened or inadequate. By doing so, you cultivate a mindset of abundance and self-sufficiency, where your approval is rooted in your own standards, not in how you measure up to others. Develop resilience against criticism. Accept that criticism, whether constructive or harsh, is a part of life. Instead of allowing it to diminish your self-worth, view it as an opportunity for growth. Practice separating your identity from your actions or mistakes. Remember that criticism does not define you. It is merely feedback, and you have the power to decide how to respond. Cultivate a resilient inner voice that affirms your value regardless of external opinions. Create a personal mantra that encapsulates your journey to self-approval. This could be a phrase that reminds you of your inherent worth and your commitment to self-love. Repeat it during challenging moments or whenever you need a boost. Over time, this mantra becomes a anchor that keeps you centered in your authenticity and self-acceptance. Engage in self-care practices that nourish your body, mind, and soul. Physical health, mental clarity, and emotional stability are interconnected with your sense of self-worth. Exercise, nutritious eating. Your enthusiasm reminds you of your intrinsic worth, independent of external validation. Whether it's art, music, sports, reading, or volunteering, doing what you love reinforces your sense of purpose and self-fulfillment. It also helps you develop a deeper connection with yourself, fostering self-approval through authentic living. Set realistic goals that align with your values. Achieving your own goals, rather than chasing societal expectations, provides a sense of accomplishment rooted in self-determination. Celebrate milestones along the way, and acknowledge your efforts regardless of the outcomes. This process affirms that your journey is valid and that your self-approval is based on your commitment and progress. Practice forgiveness. Release past regrets, mistakes, or grievances that weigh heavily on your heart. Holding on to guilt or resentment diminishes your self-worth and perpetuates the need for external validation. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, freeing you to move forward with compassion and self-love. When you forgive, you affirm that your worth is not diminished by your past errors, but is ever-present and resilient. Create a vision of your ideal self, who you aspire to be, and work towards that vision with patience and kindness. This vision is not about perfection, but about growth, authenticity, and alignment with your true self. Celebrate every step you take toward this version of yourself, and recognize that self-approval is a continuous journey, not a destination. In embracing your own approval, you also acknowledge that others' opinions are just that, opinions, not truths. Their perceptions do not define your reality unless you give them power. Practice detachment from external judgments and cultivate internal validation. This does not mean dismissing feedback that can help you grow, but rather filtering it through your inner compass, ensuring that your self-worth remains intact regardless of external circumstances. Develop patience and persistence. Cultivating self-approval is a process that requires consistent effort and self-compassion. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt, but these are natural parts of growth. When you encounter them, remind yourself that your worth is unconditional and that every experience is an opportunity to strengthen your internal foundation. Trust in the timing of your life. Sometimes, societal pressures make you believe you should have achieved certain milestones by a specific age or stage. Recognize that everyone's path is unique. Your worth is not measured by external timelines, but by your commitment to honoring your authentic self. Patience and trust allow you to stay grounded in your self-approval, even when the world's standards seem out of reach. Finally, remember that being your own approval is an ongoing act of kindness, courage, and commitment. It requires courage to stand in your truth, kindness to forgive yourself, and commitment to nurture your self-worth daily. When you internalize this truth that your approval comes from within, you empower yourself to live a life of authenticity, resilience, and deep fulfillment. You become the source of your happiness, the architect of your self-esteem, and the master of your inner peace. This self-sufficiency is the greatest gift you can give yourself and the foundation for a truly liberated, joyful life.